To believe in one's dreams is to spend all of one's life asleep. He who asks is a fool for 5 minutes, but he who does not ask remains a fool forever. If you are planning for a year, sow rice. If you are planning for a decade, plant trees. If you are planning for a lifetime, educate people. If your strength is small, don't carry heavy burdens. If your words are worthless, don't give advice. If you are patient in one moment of anger, you will escape 100 days of sorrow. Man's schemes are inferior to those made by heaven. A wise man makes his own decisions, an ignorant man follows the public opinion. Parents who are afraid to put their foot down usually have children who step on their toes. A diamond with a flaw is better than a common stone that is perfect. If you must play, decide upon 3 things at the start: the rules of the game, the stakes, and the quitting time. A bird does not sing because it has an answer. It sings because it has a song. A bit of fragrance clings to the hand that gives flowers. A book holds a house of gold. A book is like a garden carried in the pocket. A child's life is like a piece of paper on which every person leaves a mark. A filthy mouth will not utter decent language. A fool judges people by the presents they give him. A gem is not polished without rubbing, nor a man perfected without trials. A nation's treasure is in its scholars. Be not afraid of growing slowly, be afraid only of standing still. A man should choose a friend who is better than himself. There are plenty of acquaintances in the world, but very few real friends. If you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a month, get married. If you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. If you want happiness for a lifetime, help someone else. Do not confine your children to your own learning, for they were born in another time. Pearls don't lie on the seashore. If you want one, you must die for it. Teachers open the door, but you must walk through it yourself. The journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step. With true friends, even water drunk together is sweet enough. If you stand straight, do not fear a crooked shadow. Learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere. Insanity is doing the same thing in the same way and expecting a different outcome. Love is not about possession, it's all about appreciation. After you is good manners. A friend to everybody is a friend to nobody. Love at first sight. It's generally used for people, but you can also use it for other physical objects. Coming events cast their shadows before them. All things are difficult before they are easy. A straight foot is not afraid of a crooked shoe. A good book is a good friend. Time is money, and it is difficult for one to use money to get time. Opportunity knocks at the door only once. Tell me and I'll forget, show me and I may remember, involve me and I'll understand. To forget one's ancestors is to be a brook without a source, a tree without root. Make happy those who are near, and those who are far will come. Outside noisy, inside empty. To talk much and arrive nowhere is the same as climbing a tree to catch a fish. One generation plants the trees, and another gets the shade. There are many paths to the top of the mountain, but the view is always the same. He who depends on himself will attain the greatest happiness. If you don't want anyone to know it, don't do it. Be not disturbed at being misunderstood, be disturbed rather at not being understanding. A little impatience will spoil great plans. Talk does not cook rice. A man who cannot tolerate small misfortunes can never accomplish great things. Better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. If you want to find out about the road ahead, then ask about it from those coming back. One meal won't make a fat man. Clothing is cherishable when new, but relationship when old. He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. Opportunity knocks at the door only once. Do not choose the one you don't trust and trust the one you chose. All things change, and we change with them. There are two kinds of perfect people, those who are dead, and those who have not been born yet. He who cheats the earth will be cheated by the earth. A single conversation with a wise man is worth a month's study of books. He who thinks too much about every step he takes will always stay on one leg. Listening well is as powerful as talking well, and is also as essential to true conversation. Genius can be recognized by its childish simplicity. Even a hare will bite when it is cornered. Your teacher can open the door, but you must enter by yourself. Distant water does not put out a nearby fire. A closed mind is like a closed book, just a block of wood. Distance tests a horse's strength. Time reveals a person's character. Better the cottage where one is merry than the palace where one weeps. Do not afraid of moving slowly. Be afraid of standing still. The temptation to quit will be greatest just before you are about to succeed. Tension is who you think you should be. Relaxation is who you are. When the wind of change blows, some people build walls, others build windmills. He who is afraid of suffering is already suffering fear. Out of fear, true creativity is blocked. If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But if you give him a fishing rod, you feed him for a lifetime. At the gambling table, there are no fathers and sons. Keep a green tree alive in your heart, and a songbird may come to sing there. To use violence is to already be defeated. If you are in the business of revenge, then you better dig 2 graves. If heaven made him, earth can find use for him. If you want to know what water is, don't ask the fish. A little fragrance always clings to the hand that gives the roses. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. A man without a smiling face must not open a shop. Dig the well before you are thirsty. Those who say it cannot be done should not interrupt the people doing it. Habits are cobwebs at first, chains at last. To get through the hardest journey we need take only one step at a time, but we must keep stepping. I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I write and I understand. Don't fear moving slowly. Fear standing still. One moment of impatience may ruin a whole life. Facts beat eloquence. Repay good with good. Good medicine tastes bitter. 2 benefits from one action. Replace weapons with jade and silk. Food is the first priority of the people. When adversity comes, receive it favorably. Small as it is, the sparrow has all the vital organs. A person leaves a reputation as a swallow leaves its call. 10 years to cultivate wood, 100 years to cultivate a man. He who asks a question is a fool for 5 minutes. He who does not ask a question remains a fool forever. The more you sweat in practice, the less you bleed in battle. If you always give, you will always have. He who returns from a journey is not the same as he who left. Don't listen to what they say. Go see. True knowledge is when one knows the limitations of one's knowledge. We count our miseries carefully and accept our blessings without much thought. Control your emotions or they will control you. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Your teacher can open the door, but you must enter by yourself. Learning is a weightless treasure you can always carry easily. Do everything at the right time, and one day will seem like 3. Solve one problem, and you keep 100 others away. It is easy to open a store, the hard part is keeping it open. To be totally at leisure for one day is to be immortal for one day. Fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Before preparing to improve the world, first look around your own home 3 times. I was angered, for I had no shoes. Then I met a man who had no feet. Married couples tell each other 1,000 things without speech. If you want to avoid being cheated, ask for prices at 3 different stores.